A very warm welcome to Joburg today. I'm your host, Riley Hlaganiposakwe, bringing you the 411 on what's happening in and around your beautiful city. The city of Johannesburg has finally announced its much-anticipated and talked-about deal with Microsoft SA. This means that 1 million disadvantaged residents of Johannesburg will benefit from this economically with the transfer of digital skills development, and will also see the city move one step closer to becoming a smart city.
Prior to the big announcement of a groundbreaking deal with Microsoft, the city of Johannesburg's Executive Mayor Parks Tau was accompanied by the Deputy President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, to showcase how the developmental programs of the city is accelerating its economic democracy agenda.
It's been an inspirational start to the day. I'm here at Josie My Beginning, an innovation hub where the city's young innovators are hard at work to come up with possible resolutions around service delivery issues in and around the city. Here's how this administration is making it all come together.
Josie My Beginning is an extension of Josie at Work. You would know that Josie at Work was meant for communities to partner with the city in the delivery of municipal services. The Josie My Beginning one is actually taking innovations from the communities that look to improve service delivery. So what you're seeing at this location at Resolution Circle offices is a showcase of what we've done with the innovations that have come in. We've got about 17 innovators whose ideas we're showcasing to the Deputy President who's in our company right now. You will know that he's coming in as the champion of youth empowerment in the country. So he's here as well to make sure that things are going as they should in terms of empowering the youth. One of the innovations that are being presented here is traffic lights that will be able to stand the weather issues and other weather interruptions that actually are a problem in the city of Johannesburg when we have weather conditions like today, which is raining. So that's just one of the biggest ones.
It's a temporary traffic light that can be moved from hot point to hotspot, where the traffic congestion has been caused by the traffic light not working. It's a mobile light. It can pinpoint itself. It shows where it is on the Google map, and it can be moved at very short notice to where you want it. It's under construction at the moment. We've just completed the design, and we are now going into the prototype phase because he has to show a prototype by the end of September.
There were stops at several other sites before the big announcement was finally made. The crux of it is a partnership with Microsoft South Africa to train 1 million disadvantaged residents on digital literacy skills. That includes Microsoft Office. About 800,000 of the targeted 1 million residents to be trained will be the youth.
What we've observed this morning is what I call a feast of great economic opportunities for the people of Johannesburg. A feast because today I was exposed to a lot of initiatives that Gauteng is involved in at the economic level. And I've always held the view that smart cities, smart towns need to go beyond just the provision of services to its citizens. It now needs to move into improving the economic life of the city, and by so doing having a positive impact on the livelihoods of the people who live in every city. So today, having been exposed to what Johannesburg is doing, I'd like to congratulate the Executive Mayor. I'd like to congratulate members of the MMC and all the others who are involved in this wonderful initiative.
This actually started through an engagement where the Executive Mayor reached out to business partners in the city. And we were one of the business partners at the table, and a key conversation around this was what difference and what impact can we make? And very quickly, one of the key topics that arose was this idea of this digital revolution taking place. And so, we looked at what conditions could we create such that we we ensure that the digital divide doesn't get any wider than what it already is, and how do we actually make sure that the city is front and center from an urgency point of view to addressing this.
We are continuously engaged in discussions with CEOs of large enterprises in the city of Johannesburg to form partnerships to confront the problems and challenges that we have as a city. And this was born out of a discussion we had with the CEOs in the ICT sector. This is but one of the agreements that are being reached and have already been reached by the city of Johannesburg with different companies and identifying what we can do jointly to, one, remove the barriers to entry, to create participation in enterprise development and job opportunities for young people, particularly entry-level jobs, and lastly, to facilitate enterprises for community-based enterprises. So for us, this partnership is as a result of the continuous engagements that we are having with the private sector and trying to identify the possible areas in which we can collaborate.
It's all about striking the right course to ensure optimum results. And this deal with Microsoft is undoubtedly inspirational, simply because it taps into a sector where skills development is so crucial to move the city of Joburg forward to realize its goal of becoming a smarter city, a world-class African city. And of course, for Microsoft, it makes perfect business sense to capitalize on this vision as Africa spends billions on infrastructure development with a priority on bridging the digital divide. Nashina Mohammed for Joburg Today.
As always, we love hearing from you. So do yourself that favor and hit the like button on our Facebook. That's joburgtoday.tv, or simply follow us on Twitter at Joburg Today. The local elections are 2 days away, and the current administration in Johannesburg is led by Executive Mayor Park Stau, who has held this position for the past 5 years and has subsequently been renominated to lead the way by his fellow compatriots of the ANC, which is why we decided to have a chat with him to understand his personal experience.
I've been a member of one structure or the other that's been involved in political and civic activism. Since the age of 14, I joined the Congress of South African Students as a student in 1984, in fact. That's how long it is, at the age of 14. And I've been active in student and youth politics. Graduated into the Soweto Youth Congress, became president of the Soweto Youth Congress, and in that way graduated with the unbanning of the ANC and the merger of the internal structures with the ANC structures into the ANC. So it's really a life of activism. And I'd like to think of myself really as an activist, as somebody whose role and function it is in society to contribute to society, to contribute towards change in our country and in society in general.
Did you ever think that one day you would be mayor of Johannesburg?
Not really. For me, politics was like a natural progression. It's like you're involved in struggle, and here 1994 arrives and you have to answer the question, so who becomes responsible for being the public representatives? I only became a public representative in 1995 in the first local government elections. These were what we called the interim local government elections. So that was the first opportunity to participate in civic activity in the city of Johannesburg in a way of being a public representative and a councillor. And in many ways, I never thought of the next position I'd hold. Even in 2011, I was reluctant to stand as mayor, even when the discussions were starting in the ANC about who the possible mayor could be, and my name was raised. I kind of said, well, I think I prefer the back room.
So you shied away from it a bit?
I think that's where I'm more comfortable, doing the work, getting it done, and somebody assumes responsibility for the leadership of the whole organization. So I always said I play better in an also starring role, not in the main starring role in the movie.
Sure. What were your preconceived ideas when you were appointed as mayor of Johannesburg? And do you think that after 5 years that it's lived up to the position of mayor?
Well, firstly, I thought I would have a much lower profile, because I thought, well, I can still do the job without having the public profile that comes with the responsibility. But you almost immediately are thrust into a situation where you realize that part of your mandate is that ceremonial civic function as the mayor of the city of Johannesburg. And I've had to adapt and adjust to that. But there's also the additional responsibility that comes with institutions outside the city of Johannesburg. I mean, I kind of thought my role and function is to lead the city of Johannesburg. And the reality is, in the past 5 years, I've had to assume different roles in international institutions, in national institutions, and have been assigned by different organizations particular responsibilities. These ranging from the South African Local Government Association, as chair of the Gauteng chapter of the South African Local Government Association, assigned by the South African Local Government Association to be the chair of the South African Cities Network, which is the network of large cities in the country. And at an international level, there are a whole range of responsibilities. Co-president of Metropolis, which is the association of large metropolitan municipalities throughout the world. Very active as a member of the UN Advisory Committee on Safer Cities, have responsibilities in the Union of Local Authorities on the African continent, and you get into a situation where your peers and colleagues say to you, we think that not only is it Africa's turn to assume leadership of the United Cities and Local Government, which is the main association of local authorities, but they say that we think that you are the right candidate to assume the presidency of the organization.
We're approaching local elections, Mayor. If you have to look back on the last 5 years, what really stands out for you? I'm sure it's time to reflect on this administration's work as well. The best time is election time to reflect. What stands out for you, and what, if you had a chance, you would have done differently?
Well, what stands out is the value of partnership. We found that it is in areas where we've built more solid partnerships, where we're making more progress at a much faster rate. Whether it's Vulindlele Jozi and our partnerships with Harambee, whether it's about the Joburg Hackathon that we're doing with Wits University, whether it's the Green City Startup Fund that we're doing with the University of Johannesburg, or whether it's the Microsoft program that we're doing about enabling 1 million people in Johannesburg to gain access to Microsoft skills, and or the SAP Skills for Africa program that builds the capabilities of our young people to gain specialized skills in SAP, which is a specialized computer program, and software application programs, as would be. It is those partnerships that enable us to move much further, much faster. And I think that for me, that's been a valuable thing, and it would be something that we place emphasis on going forward, ensuring that we reach out to more and more partners. And we're finding that there are very many people that are prepared to come on board to partner with local government, in many ways on the basis of our own experiences. But to share an anecdote, in fact, one of the people that really made me focus on partnerships is the former mayor of New York, Michael Bloomberg. So he said, well, tell me, how many partners in the corporate sector do you have in your city? And we were counting on one hand, and he said, well, think of me, I'm a businessman, I mean, I run Bloomberg, but the number of corporate partners I have exceeds 20. So the more you're able to mobilize your corporate partners, the more you enable them to contribute and relieve some of the pressure from you, and you're able to provide the leadership in terms of the direction that should be taken. And for me, I've taken heed of those lessons and said, look, let's reach out to more and more Johannesburgers to contribute towards making this a better city. But not only Johannesburgers, not only the institutions we have in Johannesburg, we're talking to international institutions without jumping the gun. We're talking to the city of New York, to New York Library, and a whole range of other potential partners to create opportunities for the people of Johannesburg and to continue building this into a world-class African city. You were saying challenges. I would say the one area that continues to concern me is about operational efficiencies in the organization. When you get a query about a public light that's off, what is the turnaround time? When people send out people with their job cards to sort out a pothole, they drive past a pothole to sort out the one that's on the job card because they work in line with job cards. So there's a control system that they have to take into account, but there are operational efficiency issues that we could factor in. And it is those things that I think we need to improve on and ensure that we gain more operational efficiencies in the organization. And that would release a lot more resources and energy to focus on the transformational issues.
My last question to you is a personal one. You are a leader of the city. In fact, the position of mayor is like the president of a city. What makes Parkstown tick as a leader? What are the values that you hold dear that moves you as a leader of the city?
It's service to the people. I think that my role in life really is about serving the people. That's what I always think about. What do you do after this? I can't think of anything else that's outside the public service environment. Whether it's at the local level, whether it's at the national or even international level, I think that my role and function is to contribute towards the betterment of society.
Thank you very much. It was a big pleasure being here today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
I'm John Terode and you're watching Joburg Today.
And unfortunately, that's all the time we have for you today. But be sure to check out our playlist to see what's happening in and around your beautiful city. From me, Riley Hlakanipo Sakwe, I bid you farewell and do stay blessed.